You know what I love? Hidden gems. You know what else I love? The Sega Genesis. And I also love epic collaborations. So in today's video, I'm going to take all three of those things and merge them together into one beautiful creature that I can send to your eyeballs and ears. So strap in, folks, and get ready for one of the most epic collaborations you have ever seen on my channel. All of the guests in today's videos, their social media and YouTube information will be listed in the description down below. Be sure to go check them all out after this video and show them some love, because all of the guys that are joining me in today's video are amazing content creators, and I am absolutely honored to have them joining me in this epic collaboration. So we are going to kick things off with Los from the Big Retro Show. On the Big Retro Show, Los covers all things from the 80s and 90s, especially video game related, and he also covers modern stuff as well. Okay, Los, let's see what you have chosen for your Sega Genesis hidden gem.
What's up, you guys? This is Los from the Big Retro Show. A big thank you to RetroWolf88 for having me on this collaboration. Today I'm talking to you about one of my favorite games for the Sega Genesis. I'm talking to you guys today about Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi. Released in 1990, Shadow Dancer was the second Shinobi game to appear on the Sega Genesis, with the first one being that excellent Revenge of Shinobi. But the two games were vastly different. Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi was a home port of the arcade game with the same name. It was a rare game in that it was superior to its arcade big brother. The game casts you as a ninja who is armed with a nasty katana, an unlimited number of ninja stars. The name of the ninja who you play as is different based on what release you are playing. In the Japanese version of the game, you play as Hayate, the son of infamous ninja assassin Joe Musashi, who is the original Shinobi. In North America, you play as Joe Musashi himself, who comes out of retirement to save the children and the city once again. The enemies in Shadow Dancer is a ninja cult union lizard, a group of fun-loving evil ninjas who have taken over New York City. It's your job to take the ninjas out and rescue the hostages. But you are not alone in this mission. As in the arcade version of the game, you are joined by your canine companion named Yamato, who rushes enemies at your request and bites them until you can kill them with a ninja star or a swipe of your katana. The game looks and plays very much like the arcade classic Shinobi. One button throws ninja stars, and if you are close to the enemy, swings the katana. Another button allows you to jump, and a third button is used for your ninja magic. You know, I think that they forgot to include the Old English 800 button too. I think that's maybe in the 6-button version. If you press and hold the attack button, it will activate your dog if he is barking at an enemy, and releasing the button charges Yamato at your enemy. It's a nice touch to the game and sets it apart quite well from the other Shinobi games. Saving hostages allows you to power up your ninja stars to plasma fire and gives you added strength to take out enemies quicker. The game consists of 5 stages, and each stage consists of a few levels with a boss at the end. So the bosses are impressive to look at, but they're kind of easy to beat. At least I found them easy to beat. But maybe that's just because I'm an OG and I know how to play the game. It's all about learning their patterns after all. Enemies in this game range from your average ninja goons to dudes who wield guns and some who throw these disc things at you. Like other classic Shinobi games, this was a one-hit death type of game, so it can be challenging, but not so much that you can't beat it in one afternoon with no save states and no cheat codes needed. You know, not that you would need those things in the first place. After you beat each boss, you are transported to a bonus stage. I love the bonus stages. This time you dive off of a tall building and have to take out ninjas who dance back and forth across the screen. If you manage to take all of them out, you are awarded with 3 lives. If you miss just 1, you get 2 lives, and if you miss 2, you will still get at least 1 life. Miss any more than 3 and you don't get jack sh— Whoa, 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 whoa! No cursing in the collab! Sorry, dog. No problem, no problem. The last thing I want to talk to you about is the music. It kicks. Have a listen. And that's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you very much to RetroWolf for letting me be on this collab. A complete in-box copy of Shadow Dancer will cost you 45 bucks. 100 bucks if you're on eBay. Hopefully you're not. Can't wait to see what everyone else talks about in this collab. Back to you.
Damn, Los, that game looks awesome. And also, you mentioned no cussing in the collab, but you seem to have forgotten that everybody's favorite potty mouth, boob-loving European Speedy from Beyond Useless Gaming is in this video. As a matter of fact, Speedy is next. Folks, if you like crude and offensive humor as well as video games, then you have got to check out Beyond Useless Gaming. Now, I asked Speedy to come up with a PAL exclusive Sega Mega Drive hidden gem. So Speedy, let's see what you came up with.
Hello nerds! Speedy here from Beyond Useless Gaming, and I'm here to talk to you about a hidden gem for Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. And my pick for the hidden gem is... Oh wait, that's a third and not hidden well enough. But for real this time, my hidden gem is a game called Alien Soldier for Sega Mega Drive. It was only released in Japan and Europe in physical form, but in North America you could get this through Sega Channel cable service or whatever it was. I can't really remember. I don't even know if that was a huge thing there in North America. Anyway, Alien Soldier is a 2D side-scrolling run-and-gun action game. But here's the cool part about this game. Do you like boss fights? Well, get ready to come in your hands. Or if you're a woman, then you know, just moan, I guess. Yeah, cause this game is all about boss fights. It's got 31 boss fights in it. 31 boss fights, that's insane! Even in today's standards, unless it's RPG, then it's maybe closer to that, but still, 31 boss fights, holy f***! Now this does have 25 levels also, but those are, you know, short bursts like, I don't know, 30 seconds long, maybe a minute long. Not much longer than that. But they are more easy and small breathers between the boss fights. But they're cool, but still the boss fights are the thing in this game. Also, this game has 6 different weapons, but you can only pick 4 at once. Also, I have to say that the weapons, they really pack a punch and they look awesome in this game. Just like the whole game, pretty much. I mean, it's got big sprites and, you know, huge bosses. And the gameplay here really is, you know, nice and fluid. It's just so much fun to play this game. I mean, it's made by Treasure, who made Gunstar Heroes and Dynamite Heady and... well, I can't remember the rest, but I really can't remember them making bad games during the 16-bit era. Don't know any other eras, but during 16-bit era, Treasure was the shit. Now this game was also released close to the end of Sega Mega Drive's life cycle, so it didn't really get the attention that it deserved. And also, it's quite rare because of that, so if you're looking to get the physical version, it's damn expensive. I mean, I paid for my copy 2-3 years ago, around 350 euros if I'm not totally mistaken. And even back then that was pretty good deal, cause I bought it from a guy I bought, you know, well, just bunch of expensive games, so he cut me some slack, so that's cool. Anyway, if you do get a chance to try out this game, try it, cause you won't be disappointed. It's awesome. I mean, from start to... well, I didn't get through this game, but I got pretty close, so cause it's also pretty damn hard. But yeah, challenging boss fights to people who actually like boss fights, so keep this in mind. 31 bosses. Can't go wrong with that, unless you hate boss fights, then you'd probably go really wrong with this if you bought, well, especially the physical version, original. But anyway, this was my hidden gem, so whoever goes next, be my guest. I'm out.
Alien Soldier looks like some badass shit. Damn, Speedy, you are a bad influence on me because watching you has got me cussing now. Like a sailor. Who am I kidding? I cuss like a sailor all the time anyways. But seriously though, Alien Soldier looks awesome. Next up we have another PAL exclusive Sega Mega Drive hidden gem. This time from Stav aka Chronik Spartan Gaming. This Russell Brand looking gentleman not only has an awesome YouTube channel full of really insightful and detailed discussions, and to top it all off, he is an indie game developer. Okay, Stav, I am excited to see what Sega Mega Drive PAL exclusive hidden gem you have lined up for us. Onward, brother.
Okay, let's talk about a Mega Drive game. Not a Genesis game, a Mega Drive game. Because this one is a PAL exclusive. And it's kind of a bit of an institution in the UK. And the game I'm referring to is Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder is an action shoot-'em-up game developed by Sensible Software, the guys who also developed Sensible Soccer. So for most of you Genesis players out there, probably don't know what I'm talking about, but Sensible Soccer was a great football game. And yeah, I said it, football, not American football, English football. See, it was developed by Sensible Software and released in 1993 originally for the Amiga console. But shortly after that, it got its Mega Drive release. Cannon Fodder is a military game. It's a shooting action game, but it's got squad-based gameplay as well. Like kind of that tactical style of gameplay. So you and your little band of merry men go around causing all kinds of ruckus, shooting up the enemies, taking out the turrets, tanks, all that kind of good stuff. But the thing that really makes Cannon Fodder stand out, and the thing that gives it that British vibe, is the dark humour it's got with it. Now at the time, that was quite a divisive kind of aspect of the game, bringing that kind of sense of humour to a military world, a military kind of context, was by some seen as genius in the dark humour sense of the world, and by others seen as a little bit risky. But whichever side of the fence you sat on, you could not deny that Cannon Fodder was just an amazing, fun action game that blended squad-based gameplay tactics perfectly as you went throughout the levels and completed your missions. There's something distinctly British about Cannon Fodder, and I think it's to do with the humour. It's got that kind of Dad's Army feel to it, all mixed in with some fantastic gameplay. And that's why for me, that is a hidden gem of a PAL recommendation of a Mega Drive game. But the story of Cannon Fodder doesn't end there. The original franchise is done and dusted. However, it lives on strong in British culture. So much so that the British indie developer Gareth Williams has created a spiritual successor to Cannon Fodder, a game called Jarheads, which is in every single way as much fun as the original Cannon Fodder was, but brings with it a fantastic new lick of voxel style graphics. Playing this game recently at one of the Play Expos over in Blackpool is a reason why Cannon Fodder was at the forefront of my mind. And so when you RetroWolf asked me to think about a Mega Drive game or a PAL exclusive game for the Mega Drive that I'd recommend, that's why Cannon Fodder came to me straight away. Because all these years later, that amazing little game that started out in the Amiga, moved over to the Mega Drive, is still having an impact even to this day. Now if you haven't tried it, get yourself a Mega Drive, you know, the proper Sega console, not the Genesis. Get yourself a copy of Cannon Fodder, plug that in and have some fun. Or just get it on a Raspberry Pi. And after you've done that, go check out Jarhead on Steam, because that is a fantastic homage to an amazing game. Anyway, thank you RetroWolf for having me as part of this episode. It's been a great honour. Your channel has been one of the shining stars of 2019, and it is growing leaps and bounds, so it's a real honour to be part of that journey.
Thank you, Chronik Spartan Gaming, for the awesome coverage on Cannon Fodder. Next up is the troll himself, Chris from Telesplash Gaming. Chris's channel covers a wide variety of gaming topics, and his videos are always high energy and full of humor. So Chris, let's see what you got, my dude. Take it away.
What's going on, gamers and RetroWolf? Your favorite troll is here to talk about some Genesis hidden gems. Now we know the Sega Genesis is inferior to the Super Nintendo. I kid, but am I? With that being said, that doesn't mean the Genesis didn't have some really cool games that came out, and I'm here to talk about one that is an amazing TV show as well as a game. Now a lot of times these TV shows, these movies that actually get turned into games aren't any good, but Gargoyles, that is some straight up 90s nostalgia. It is part of the Disney gaming lineup. Now Disney had some huge hits with Lion King, Aladdin, but Gargoyles was kind of one of those games that flew under the radar. It was one of those Saturday morning cartoon specials that ran for a few seasons. The Gargoyles are trapped in stone for 1,000 years, and I'll never forget, the spell is broken and we live again. It was a huge part of my childhood growing up, and I even remember watching a ton of reruns before school. And Gargoyles transitioned to a video game in 1995, and it was exclusive to North America and exclusive to the Genesis. Now, what makes Gargoyles a hidden gem? Well, for one, like many games in the 16-bit era, it is a side-scrolling action platformer, but it doesn't just turn into a generic game. Playing as Goliath, the main antagonist, you get to use your gargoyle superpowers of sorts to really make the game a little bit more unique. You can fight enemies by punching and using your body, slamming into them. You can use grapple moves to throw them, and the enemies aren't pushovers. You don't just hit them one time and they die. You hit them a few times and they let out a blood-curdling scream, which I can never get enough of. It is one of those things that I actually forgot about until I went back and played it again for this video, and it's like the Wilhelm scream. I mean, not quite, but it's pretty entertaining, and as a kid, I do remember it now, and it was so funny just hearing these weird screams in the middle of this game, but it makes it that much better. But not just the scream, not just the sound effects, the atmosphere is super dark, super eerie, and it takes place over multiple time periods. You start out in the early eras, and you work your way up to like modern day Manhattan, where you're flying over rooftops, you're fighting these robotic enemies, and it's just really cool how it kind of bounces back and forth. There's 11 levels, and they're bookended with different cinematic cutscenes kind of in between to let you know what's going on, but it's a puzzle platformer. There's many times during this game where you're not just going left and right, but you're flying up and down because you have a secondary jump. Now, we just call it like a second jump, or you just have an extra jump, but with the gargoyle, it's like a wing flap. So you jump, you do a wing flap, and it brings you up a little bit, and it's really a cool part of the game to use that to get to different areas. You can walk along the wall, and you can actually find hidden areas, find different things to replenish your life. The enemies are pretty cool, and each level has a boss at the end, which makes it, like most 16-bit games, a little bit more epic at the end of the level when you end up fighting those people. In the beginning, some of the first puzzles are these like chandeliers hanging down, you gotta jump on them to open up gates, and they just get more and more advanced from there. And this game is not a super easy game. Now, it's not terribly difficult, but it's not one of those where you're gonna put it in and probably run right through it your very first playthrough. It takes a little bit of skill and a little bit of strategy to get the hang of this game. And I believe that when it came out, it really did get good reviews, but it was just one of those where it wasn't a high-end Disney franchise. It didn't last a super long time on TV. It doesn't have that longevity like some of the other Disney games, and I really feel like Gargoyles is not only a hidden gem for cartoons from the 90s, but it's a hidden gem for the Sega Genesis. And for my pal buddies across the pond, it's too bad you can't get it over there. So if you need a copy, call up the old Trollster. I'll try to send one your way. But for me, Gargoyles is a fantastic action platformer and a puzzle game for the Sega Genesis that is exclusive to North America and exclusive to the Genesis. So if you have not played Gargoyles, do yourself a favor. It still holds up pretty well, and it's a really, really fun, somewhat difficult action platformer. Keep rolling, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Chris. That was very nostalgic, and I had no idea it was a video game, and the game looks awesome. The final guest in today's epic collaboration is a special effects artist from the UK who has worked on the Game of Thrones and movies such as the Justice League, Fantastic Beasts, and Annihilation. His name is Leon, aka SFX Leon on Twitter and Twitch. Now, I actually met Leon on the set of the Game Chasers movie, and we became friends. He is a really good dude, and he is also a fellow game collector and hardcore gamer. And I am honored to have Leon join this collaboration and show us another PAL exclusive Sega Mega Drive hidden gem. Can't wait to see what you have lined up for us. I bet it is pretty nuts.
Hey man, thanks for having me on your show. I would like to talk about this little wank.
You can't say wanker in my video, man. Come on, have some class.
Can't say
Hell no! Wanker is off limits, Leon.
Okay. I would like to talk about this little prick. Mr. Nutz. In case you couldn't tell from the name, he's a squirrel. From back in the days of mascots with attitude, the glorious 90s. It's a Power Region exclusive, so it's relatively obscure, unless you had the Sega channel back in the day. On first glance, it looks like a kid's game. It is not. There's 6 worlds in total, so overall it's pretty short. The challenge lies in having enough controllers to actually finish the game, as you will no doubt smash at least one in frustration. After you get past the first couple of simple linear levels, it turns into a massive twatfest of frustration and squirrel genocide fantasies. This game will kick your ass. The mechanics vary in levels. For instance, introducing switches that are scattered around that will hinder your progress, to pushing a chair to get up on a table, which was pointless. The weird thing is, I think both of these mechanics feel like last-minute additions to the game, as they both were only utilised a couple of times. It is relatively forgiving with the enemies though. Despite some of them having some pretty weird patterns, around 90% can be killed by either throwing your nuts at them, not a euphemism, jumping on top of them, or using a tail attack, which is pretty shit and I would not recommend using it. You have 5 hit points, but the cutesy enemies are so deviously placed it will not matter. I have no qualms in saying the developers were sadistic aiming this game at kids back in the day. On the plus side, the game looks great and still stands up today. The controls are pretty tight, bar the ice level physics, and the music is decent enough throughout. It's a solid platformer. Now, would I recommend the game? I would. It's got a lot of nostalgia for me and it's not terrible, but if you're after something casual, I'd choose something a little less infuriating.
Thank you, Leon, for educating on this nutty game. I will have to give it a go, as they say in your neck of the woods. Ladies and gentlemen, let's close out this video with one more game. Released in North America on December 19th, 1991, Quackshot starring Donald Duck is a 2D adventure platformer starring everyone's favorite angry, hard to understand Disney character, Donald Duck. In Quackshot, you are on a quest to find the treasure of King Garuzia in the Great Duck Kingdom so that you can become rich. Unfortunately, Big Bad Pete overhears this information and decides to pursue you so that he can steal the treasure for himself. On your epic duck-filled quest, you will journey to a variety of locations on the world map, such as Duckburg, Mexico, Transylvania, the South Pole, and many more as you chase clues and gather items needed on your adventure to find the treasure. Each level has its own theme, music, characters, enemies, and mechanics that leaves each stage feeling unique and fresh throughout the entire adventure. You start off with access to only 3 stages, but as you progress the number increases, and the cool thing is that in certain spots on the stages you can call the plane and travel to previous stages or even new stages. And this is crucial because oftentimes you will run into an obstacle in a stage that you don't quite have what you need to overcome that obstacle, so you have to explore another stage in an effort to find it, such as a pyramid that requires a key, a wall that you cannot scale without upgraded equipment, and a treasure map being held by Dracula himself. So even though the stages themselves are linear, this aspect of the game creates a nice sense of adventure and non-linearity on the entire game as a whole. Within each stage you will platform your way through it while avoiding pits, dodging traps, and dealing with enemies. Controls are very simple with a run button, a jump button, and a shoot button. You start off the game with a simple plunger that has infinite ammo, but it only stuns enemies long enough for you to run past them. You can also find popcorn that you can shoot at enemies to kill them, because that makes sense, and a gun that shoots bubbles that kills enemies and can break certain blocks, because that also makes sense. Later in the game, you acquire an upgrade to your plunger that allows your shots to briefly stick on walls and you can bounce off of them, and another upgrade that allows you to shoot flying creatures with your plunger and then grab it to fly across chasms, although this is only used a few times. The graphics are fantastic with large sprites with plenty of detail and a very nice, crisp, and bright color palette used throughout, and of course some awesome parallax scrolling in the background. The sprites have some awesome animations and there's plenty of enemy and obstacle variety throughout the game to keep things feeling fresh. The music and sound design is fantastic and it all fits the theme of each stage. In Duckburg, you have some catchy and whimsical music. Transylvania has haunting and melodic music. And the Pyramid in the Mexico stage has some very mysterious and tense music. It's some really good stuff. Quackshot is not terribly difficult, but it does have its frustrations in later stages and boss fights. You have 8 hit points until you die, and of course if you fall in a pit or lava you die. The jumping is a bit floaty and takes some getting used to, but it's not too bad outside of a few very frustrating jumps in later stages. You can acquire extra lives throughout the game, and also if you increase Donald's temper by eating hot peppers, you can rampage through the levels and kill everything in your path like a raging rabid duck on meth. All in all, Quackshot is a fun and unique adventure platformer with fantastic graphics and music, fun gameplay, and a nice variety in the level design, and I never hear anybody talk about this game, and I consider it a total hidden gem on the Sega Genesis. So there you have it, folks. 6 Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive hidden gems that you should check out. Man, what an epic, awesome, and fun collaboration. And again, the information for everybody in today's video will be in the description down below, but huge shout out and thanks to Los from the Big Retro Show, Speedy from Beyond Useless Gaming, Stave from Chronik Spartan Gaming, Chris from Telesplash Gaming, and of course SFX Leon. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to join me on this collaboration, and I hope that you had fun as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure and hit that like button. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about these games. If you have any of these games, if you have any special memories of these games, or if you have any questions about these games, let us know all that in the comments down below. Also, let us know in the comments down below what games on the Sega Genesis and Sega Mega Drive that you consider to be a hidden gem. We would love to hear it. And folks, go check out the other channels for the guests in today's video. I want you to go check these guys out because I have no doubt that you will enjoy their awesome gaming content. As always, folks, thank you so much for tuning into the channel and watching today's video. Keep playing games and having a good time, and I will see you all in the next one. Later.